Hi everybody. Okay, I'm back for Wild Whisper today, but I'm going to do a little bit of an intro before I get into my process video. You gave me such amazing feedback on my video 2 weeks ago about finishing a project. So I talked about how I had this trip from Colorado and I still had a couple pages to do in that part of the album, and I loved your comments and I loved how enthusiastic you were about it. So I am going to keep going with that. But I wanted to give you a little bit of context around this project and what I'm working on. So this album, the summer of 2015, my family and I, we did a lot of traveling over the summer. We took a lot of trips. And so when I started to scrapbook our family album, I kind of removed all of that traveling from the summer and made it its own album. So part of that traveling over the summer was my husband and I took a trip to Colorado. Now we are going again, just in the spring here, April, May. We're going to a different part of Colorado. So this was Colorado Springs. And then coming up here, we're going to go to a different part of Colorado. So I'm just going to flip through here and show you how I have this part of the album kind of organized, and you'll see what I mean when I say I have gaps. So we have like a title page here, where we went, those kinds of things. Then we have the part of the album that's about where we stayed, which was at the Broadmoor. So I took a ton of photos from inside the resort because it was absolutely beautiful. And I put all of those into one kind of set of pages. And then food, we had so much good food. Loved the food, needed to take photos of the food. There's actually more food photos later on, but this was, I think, like the 1 day's worth of food, like crazy food. My husband, we had a day where we had a car rental and we went to Simple Pleasures, which is a scrapbooking store in Colorado Springs, and it's the best store in Colorado Springs ever. So if you're looking at the products, there is a lot of Maggie Holmes with Broadmoor. Then we go into some of the stuff we did, and some of the pages are done with a travel collection from Webster's Pages, like this one, and then some are done with Felicity Jane kits that I had purchased and had. So it kind of depends on, what part of the album you're in, what you're going to see most of. And I also did at sections combine the two. So like here you'll see there are some Felicity Jane elements, but then there's also some of the elements from the Webster's Pages. So we just go through here. I'm going to try to get as much of this into here as I can, so you can see as many of the pages. This album was before I had a YouTube channel. How about that? But you can see I have some pocket pages here, some different photographs. And so then we get to the Royal Gorge. And so everything up to this point is done. Then we get to the train when we went on the Royal Gorge Railroad. So, I have started that. This is the page from last week. And then we start finding these gaps, like here. And this is the page we're going to work on today. And then as you flip through, you'll see, like, there's a gap here. I have the photos. They're already ready to go. I even have some journaling saved up to do with them. But it's just, I don't want to make anyone dizzy. It's just these pages. And then I have these pages here, which are from the Buffalo Bill Museum. I have a 6x8 page ready to go here about some of the things we did because we were there. My husband was there as part of his job as well. So we had some like dinners we had to attend and things like that were his job related. And so I have some pictures of the people we were hanging out with, stuff like that. Anyway, and this is another trip that I haven't finished yet. But actually, for that trip, I just have this page to do. So we have 2 6x12s, 12 by 12, these two, and then the one that we're going to do today. And what I did was I organized this whole album, organized the photos, organized it all, and then just as I did the pages, I take the pictures out, do the page, put the pictures back in, but I still have these gaps. So these are the gaps I'm going to try to work on, and I'm going to use that collection from Wild Whisper because I've been keeping up with kind of having the same color tones, things kind of moving throughout the layout so it all kind of works together. So like even here, this is all of that Webster's Pages kind of stuff. And so I want to make sure that I don't have just like this random page and no other page in the entire layout, in the entire album kind of goes with this, right? So today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work with, hold on one second, I have to grab them. These two photos, which are of, so when we were on the train, I'll tell you the little story here behind these photos. So when we were on the train, we went through this area that was like whitewater rafting, and it was like so cool. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I took these pictures of these people whitewater rafting beside us, and they were waving at us. It was really cool. So I want to use these photos. I'm going to use the Where to Next collection from Wild Whisper. And so a trick that I have when, you know, I want to get this story told, I want to document what was going on. But I'm kind of over it, right? Like, I'm not inspired. So I have new products, which will help to inspire me. And then I'm also going to pull in a sketch for this one. That's going to keep my design easy, right? I'm not going to have to really go, you know, really work hard. This page is going to come together really easy because I have my two pictures. I have my sketch. Now, I am going to pull in some Wild Whisper products from other collections as I work through this sketch. And as I pull those products in, I'll tell you what they are. But for the most part, I'm going to stick to the Where to Next collection. Okay, that's it. That's my little like crazy talking bit at the beginning because I'm going to keep going. So in 2 weeks when I do my next Wild Whisper layout, I'm going to go ahead and grab these photos, which is 4 photos, and go from there. So that is my plan for this album. And I'm just going to keep working through until I have gotten all of my travel album done. Okay, so now I'm going to put you on fast forward and we'll get to work on our layout. So I decided I would add some of the papers from the Masculine mini kit to my What's Next layout and also the flare. And the colors in both of these collections coordinate really, really well. So they're a great little add-on if you need more pattern papers or more embellishments for your travel collections or your travel photos. And then I'm also going to be pulling in the beautiful sequins that Jody from Spiegel Mom Scraps designs with every release to coordinate with the collections. I'm going to go ahead and cut this yellow paper down. Initially, I was going to cut it down to 10.5 by 10.5, or no, 11.5 by 11.5. But I wanted a thicker border, so I'm going to end up trimming it down to 11 by 11. So we have a nice 1/2 inch border all around the layout. So I just used some tape to go ahead and score tape to go ahead and get my layout down, and that helps the yellow paper to be more evenly bordered. So I want to do some cropping to these photos. There was this random lady in a tent that I didn't want in my photo, and then the other photo you can see there's like another person that was standing beside me that is taking a photo, and she has this really bright green band on her wrist, and I find that to be incredibly distracting. So I'm going to crop both these photos down so that you are looking at the river rafters. And I did decide to pull in the masculine collection because there's this really pretty kind of darkish blue tones to those pictures, and I thought that that would work really well with the bright blue rafts in my photos. So I was able to go ahead and cut that lady right off. And I'm watching my measurements so that both these photos end up being the same size, and that will help when I go to mat them. I'm sorry if there's a little bit of background noise. My Doxy puppy is eating, and it's being a little louder than expected, but he insists on eating in the same room as me. So I went ahead, I matted my two photos onto that text paper, and then I used one of the branding strips I used the branding strip from the yellow pattern to add that strip across the middle of my page. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my circle dies, and I'm going to cut about 100 circles. Yeah, about 100. No, not really. Not that many. But I'm going to go ahead and cut a lot of die cut circles, because part of the reason I chose the sketch that I chose is because I loved the circle clusters that were on the sketch. They're really pretty. So I cut 2 layers to kind of start my base of my clusters and where I'm going to put my title. I am inking everything with Distress Oxide Vintage Photo ink, and I did my journaling on that die cut piece. So the journaling is done and ready to go on. I'm going to use this tag to act as my title. Easy peasy title, done. So I'm just doing a ton of inking now, and now I'm going to go ahead and get those pieces onto my layout. I popped the tag up to give it some prominence on the layout. I'm going to tuck my circle journaling element down. Those are the important pieces, and then I'm going to just tuck in and around a bunch of circles. So if those 2 kind of chunks of paper are there, the fishtailed one that looks like the leather and then the one that has the tags, if those 2 felt a bit awkward, they will stop feeling awkward now because they just needed the layers put on top of them. I am going to go ahead and add 3 flares from the masculine collection for some extra texture, for some extra color, something that's not all paper, and also because they're circles and they're really cool looking. So I'm going to turn my paper around, and then I'm going to start working on that upper cluster on the right hand side. What I'm going to do for that, I'm not sure why I left all of this like kind of me figuring out what I'm doing, but I did. I'm going to add more. No, I decided that was too much. Okay, up here at the top, I'm going to add a circle, and then I'm going to layer on top of that circle the rest or some of this branding strip, which was from the wood grain paper. And you can see the really cool backside of that masculine paper. And FYI, if you get this collection and you get the double pack, you can use that wood grain paper. And then my dear friend Christina Sorge did a video last week that has the coolest technique for that paper right there, that black and white pattern. It's amazing. Definitely check that out. Okay, so I'm going to continue on here creating all of these beautiful clusters and just having fun layering circles. If you have a travel album that needs pages done and you're looking for a really fun travel collection, be sure to run over to the Wild Whisper. Don't walk, run. Run over to the Wild Whisper website and grab this collection. I'm going to be working with it until I get these travel layouts done. So they're awesome. And if you have an album that has a lot of travel layouts, I would definitely grab that masculine paper pack because it will give you some extra patterns to play with. You can always use my code, which is in the bottom. Now, I always flip my code around, so I'm going to try to make sure to put it in correctly in the information. But if by some chance I flip it, I think it's DT Sarah. The DT is first. It could be the other way around. I'm so bad at that code. I always flip it. So I'm going to go ahead here and just add sequins. I have misplaced my crystal katana. It ran away from me. It's somewhere on my desk. I still haven't found it yet. So I got to do this old school, which I'm not a fan of. You never know. You know that saying, you never know what you've got until it's gone? Man, I didn't realize how hard it was to put down sequins without a crystal katana. But there we go. Lots of fun sequins. I love the sequins in that kit. They're beautiful. Here are lots of fun close-ups. Have a fabulous, fabulous Monday, and I will see you all again. We're back to normal schedule this week. So Wednesday for Shamel Sketches Reimagined. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.